up, guys? So continuing the Venice Film Festival coverage, today's movie I'm going to be discussing is the latest film from Luca Guadignino called Bones and All, which is an adaptation of the novel of the same name by Camille DeAngellis. The story is set in an undisclosed time in America. It looks like the 1980s, could be the early 90s, but is centered around our protagonist, Marin, played by Taylor Russell, who seems like an ordinary 18-year-old girl. She comes across as quite meek and innocent, that is, until we learn that she has a pang for human flesh. That's right, she's a man-eater. Man-eater, make you work hard, make you sweat hard, make you want more. Oh, no, yeah. Okay, enough of that. After her father, who's played by André Holland, can no longer protect her, Marin sets off on a cross-country trip across America to Minnesota in hopes of finding her birth mother and getting some answers as to why she is the way she is. And along the way, she meets a fellow eater called Lee, who's played by Timothée Chalamet, who's going through his own set of family issues as well. So these two lost souls team up and go on a journey to try and figure out who they are and how they're gonna live in a world as cannibals. On paper, this sounds like a film that shouldn't work, but that's kind of stupid because it was put on paper. It was a book, for God's sakes, Luke. But as a plot for a film, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? A coming-of-age cannibal love story. That's a tough elevator pitch. I didn't know what to expect from this film. I haven't read the book, but I can tell you this. I bloody loved Bones and All, the movie. I think the reason it works as well as it does is because it's a Luca Guadagnino film. Like, blossoming young love and cannibalism aren't two things you often see paired together, and it's not something every filmmaker can pull off, but Luca Guadagnino was definitely the perfect man for this adaptation. With Bones and All, he's married the summer love sensibilities of Call Me By Your Name with the ick factor of Suspiria. There is some gore in this film, but it's also an incredibly sweet and tender watch. It takes a filmmaker of immense skill to get a tonal balance of horror and romance just right. Like, in the wrong hands, Bones and All could have easily become a schlocky, campy romp, but Guadagnino gets the formula spot on. Kudos to him. The performances in this are sublime. Taylor Russell is a revelation as Marion. First Waves and now Bones and All, like, her star is seriously on the rise. She is one to watch out for. And as for Chalamet, it says a lot about me that I don't think I've ever found Chalamet sexier than him playing a topless cannibal with blood all over his abs. His look in this film, with the red highlighted mullet, the fringy shirt, and the ripped jeans, I dug it. Chalamet has turned in some incredible performances, but Bones and All is definitely in my top 3. He gets a scene towards the end of the film where he reveals some buried trauma from his past, and Chalamet's performance here, it's so beautifully understated, but it's very powerful. Like, my love for him as an actor just deepens and deepens with every film that he does. And I also just realized this today, I think I do have some Timothée Chalamet bias at play, because every film I've reviewed of his from the past few years, I've given a 10 out of 10 to. Seriously. Even The King, what's that about? But yeah, every project that he touches just turns to gold for me. There's also some fantastic supporting work in this. A shout out to Mark Rylance, who plays a fellow eater called Sully, who teaches Marin about being able to smell other eaters like her. Rylance plays him with a detached sweetness. Like, he's kind of creepy, but at the same time, I kind of feel for him. It's strange. You can tell he's just a very lonely person looking for connection. So yeah, I had a great deal of sympathy for him as a character. I also love that Bones and All has so many layers of meaning. It's actually kind of fascinating how a subject about cannibalism can be applied to so many different things, because you can watch this film and see it as a story about addiction. It's very easy to see the characters of Marin and Lee as two junkies who are just trying to sort out the next fix. Lee even says that eating people gives him a rush like no other, like he's high. But you can also interpret the film as a story about abuse and coming to terms with it as an adult. But it's also a story about sexual awakening. Some of the conversations that Marin and Lee have with each other about eating people sound like the conversations that two young lovers would have about past relationships and how many people they've slept with. Tell me about your first time. Oh, mine was with the babysitter. Me too! And that's the thing, we often do equate sex with hunger, and this film explores the fine line between the two. We have cravings and urges for sex. We have an appetite for flesh, we lust after it. And when we engage with someone sexually, there is a certain degree of consumption. I mean, who doesn't love a cheeky nibble? Even when we talk about people that we find attractive, we often do describe them as if they were food. That is one tasty dish. Ooh, that boy is yummy. Ooh, hello salty goodness. Give me a little peek into my love life. You ever hear that expression, looking at you like a piece of meat? Well, there's a scene in this where Lee is targeting his next meal, and it's exactly that. It's that look of lick-lipping attraction, like the way a cartoon cat would look at a mouse. I can tell you, I've had the exact same look that Timothée Chalamet has in a crowded gay bar across a dance floor. You know, where you're looking at someone and you go, I am going to devour you. So yeah, this very much is a film about sexual awakening and the appetite that comes when we become sexually active. As far as negatives go, the only thing I wrote down in my book is that I thought it was about 10 minutes too long, but that's really all I have. But shall we talk about its Oscars chances? Sadly, because this is a genre film, I'm not confident about it being a key player during this award season. And that really bothers me because I love this film. It's one of my favorite films of 2022. And if I had it my way, Chalamet and Russell would both be in the acting categories. But also, Luca Guadagnino has been horrendously unsung by the Academy. He's never been nominated for a directing nom. He didn't get the nomination for Call Me By Your Name, but to be fair, that was a tough year. I mean, look at it, it's stacked. I don't know who to take out and put Guadagnino in. But sadly, the Academy just don't often nominate genre films. That's the sad truth. Could we see an adapted screenplay nomination for David Koenig? It's not out of the question, but I do think it's unlikely. But if Bones and All were to get any nominations, most likely it would be in screenplay. Although I would give it a nomination for hair and makeup because Timothée Chalamet's mullet, damn. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? Absolutely. Bones and All was a love at first sight type of movie for me. I'm gonna be buying a copy of it, adding it to my collection back home, watching it numerous times. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? It's not going to be for everyone, this film, because there is some gore in it. I know that's not for everyone, but it's not graphic to the point, let's say, Suspiria was. But the reason I want to recommend Bones and All to people is because it really is quite unique. I've tried to think of some films to compare it to, but it's really hard to find films that marry horror and romance together in the way that Bones and All does. Like, it's kind of incomparable. And for that reason, I think it's worth checking out, because it's unlike so much of what we get. But yeah, if you can think of any examples of coming-of-age horror romances, let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, it's daring, it's surprisingly tender, and features 2 incredible performances from Taylor Russell and Timothée Chalamet. What more do you need? So yeah, I do recommend. And third question, what score to give out of 10? Bones and All is a masterful genre blend from Luca Guadagnino, and it has way more substance than I thought it was gonna have. It's a horror romance about self-acceptance. It's brilliant. Besides it being a little bit too long, I absolutely love this movie, so I'm gonna say Bones and All gets a score of 10 out of 10. And I think it's a film that everybody should give a go at least once before they die. It's rare to see a film like this. Watch it, alright? But as always, guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I do want to hear from you. If you've seen Bones and All, what did you make of this movie? What do you think of the performances? Whatever you have to say, let your voice be heard in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the little thumbs up button for me. If you want more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click subscribe. And if you want to follow all of my updates on Venice and Toronto, be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all those links in the video description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.